Hello, welcome to day 5 of the San Diego Unified Visual Arts and Performing Arts Online Theater Workshop Series. I am Miss Bianca, and I am excited to get started today. By the end of today, you will be able to say, I can create a tableau. I can improvise to tell a story. I can use my body, voice, and imagination to clearly express a story on stage. I can warm up my voice, my body, and my imagination. So let's get started. But first, it's time for a recap. Let's review what we learned in our last video. Improvisation is the art of acting out a scene or story with no script and little or no planning. A script is a collection of words a playwright uses to tell a story on stage. The rules of improvisation are: begin the scene with as much energy as possible, use the body, make vocal choices, listen to the other actors, always say yes to the suggestions of other actors. Now it's time for our warm-ups. Let's start with a warm-up for our imagination. Remember to use a space where you can move around freely. For this exercise, we are going to pretend to be a frog. Remember to use all of your space for this exercise. What would a frog stand like? How does a frog move? How would a frog move his eyes? How would a frog move her mouth? How would a frog move her tongue? How would a frog move their legs? How would a frog jump? How high would this frog jump? What would be around the frog? Imagine all of the things that a frog might see every single day. Are there other frogs around the frog? How would the frog communicate with those other frogs? And scene. Excellent job, actors. Now let's imagine a different role. Imagine you are walking a very large dog. What kind of dog are you walking? How does the dog look? How strong is this dog? Is the dog very strong, or is the dog very weak? Does the dog have a lot of energy, or is the dog really tired? What kind of leash are you using to walk the dog? Is it a long leash? Is it a very short leash? Where are you walking the dog? Are you walking the dog on the beach, or are you walking the dog in a park? How playful is your dog? Does the dog want to jump all over you? Does the dog see a squirrel in the distance and wants to take off? Does the dog get really tired and now all of a sudden doesn't want to move? And scene. Excellent job, actors. Now let's warm up our voices. We are going to start by counting to 10. Remember our exercise, we want to make sure we put our hands on our stomach near our diaphragm, and we're going to start by counting to 10. We are going to start very quietly and then get louder as we count to 10. Are you ready? Let's go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent job, actors. Now this time, when we count to 10, I want you to count as if you're very excited. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent job, actors. Now I want you to count to 10 as though you are tired. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent job, actors. Now you are going to count to 10 like you're a huge monster. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent job, actors. Now you you are going to count to 10 like you're very, very annoyed. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent job, actors. Notice when we switch our emotions or we switch our characters, we change the sound of our voice, but sometimes we also change our facial expressions. Now it's time for our tongue twisters. Our first tongue twister will be Unique New York. We are going to repeat it 6 times. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Unique New York, 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 Unique New York. Our second tongue twister for today is Thin Sticks, Thick Bricks. On the count of 3, repeat it with me 6 times. 1, 2, 3. Thin sticks, thick bricks. 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 Excellent job, actors. So now let's start to warm up our bodies. We are going to start by shaking our wrist 5 times. Then we'll switch and shake the other wrist 5 times. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And shake those wrists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 1, 2, 3. Switch. 1, 2, 3. Switch. 1, 2. Switch. 1, 2. Switch. 1. Switch. 1. And done. Now we're going to nod our heads yes. Now we'll shake our head no. Nod your head yes. Shake our heads no. And yes. And no. And yes. And no. Excellent job, actors. Now let's warm up our shoulders. We're going to push our shoulders all the way up to our ears and then drop our shoulders. Excellent. Push our shoulders all the way up to our ears and then drop our shoulders. Wonderful. Put our shoulders all the way up here. Now drop those shoulders. Excellent. Now we are going to shake our arms. Now shake the other arm. Now shake both arms. Now shake our heads. Now shake our legs. And shake our whole body. And stop. Excellent job, actors. Our body should feel a little bit warmer now. Now let's start with our acting exercise for today. Last week we talked about improvisation and you pantomimed with me. This week we are going to talk about story. Every play or show in a theater always has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, we learn about the characters and the place. In the middle, the character goes through a complication. What is a complication? A complication is a problem the character has getting what they want. And in the end, the character gets a solution to their problem. This can also happen in improvisation. Even though we don't have a script, we can still create a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Let's try an activity where we improvise our story without any words. This exercise is called the DVD game. I'm going to give you a very, very simple story. You will need to come up with a pose that represents each part of the story. Make sure you remember your pose. When I give you one part of the story, like the beginning, you will pause the video and come up with a pose for that part of the story. Make sure you memorize that pose. Then I will give you another part of the story. After that, Pause the video and come up with a different pose for that part of the story. Then I will give you a different part of the story. You will need to come up with a different pose for that part of the story. And you should memorize that pose. Afterwards, I will repeat each line of the story. Each time I repeat it, make sure you show the pose that matches that part of the story. I will show you an example. My story is, I went to the park. I could not find my friend. My friend found me at the park. The beginning. I went to the park. The middle. I could not find my friend. And the end. My friend found me at the park. Now here are some helpful tips. Remember, pantomime is using our bodies to tell a story. You don't use any words or language. Be sure to exaggerate your pose. Make all of your movements very big and specific. In your pose, you are frozen. You cannot make any other movements. Make sure you show your story with every part of your body. Don't forget to show your facial expressions. Grab some teddy bears to be your audience. Make sure they can see you, so always face forward. And have some fun. Be sure to pause the video after each description to give yourself enough time to come up with a pose. Okay, I want to see you try. Here is your story, your beginning. You went to the ice cream shop. 2, you dropped your ice cream. 3, your friend bought you a bigger ice cream cone. Excellent! I hope you have your poses ready. Remember to memorize your pose. Now I will repeat the beginning, the middle, and the end. Every time I repeat a line, you should show me your pose that matches that line. Are you ready? Let's go. You went to the ice cream shop. You dropped your ice cream. Your friend bought you a bigger ice cream. You went to the ice cream shop. You dropped your ice cream. Your friend bought you a bigger ice cream cone. You went to the ice cream shop. You dropped your ice cream. Your friend bought you a bigger ice cream cone. You went to the ice cream shop. You dropped your ice cream. Your friend bought you a bigger ice cream cone. You went to the ice cream shop. You dropped your ice cream. Your friend bought you a bigger ice cream cone. You went to the ice cream shop. You dropped your ice cream. Your friend bought you a bigger ice cream cone. Excellent job, actors. Guess what? You just used another theater tool. This tool is called Tableau. A tableau is a theatrical pose. A tableau is a tool we use in theater to show one moment in a story. We freeze in one position or pose, and that represents the moment. It is pantomime because it is without words and you can only hold one position. Now we are going to add to this activity. You are going to have a different story, but this time you will also use an imaginary prop. What is a prop? A prop is an object an actor uses on stage to help them tell a story. A prop can be any object: a ball, a purse, a cellular phone, a popsicle, a baseball bat, or a magical wand. In pantomime, your prop is imaginary. You will pretend to have the prop, but you want to be very clear on how you use it. You also want to be very clear on how you hold the prop. You want it to be very clear to your audience what you're holding. Let's try an exercise. I will do it with you. Pretend you are holding a ball. Now pretend you are holding a large ball. Rub your fingers around the ball. Now pretend you are holding a small ball. Start bouncing the small ball. It has now switched to a large ball. Throw the ball in the air and wait for it. Wait for it. Now catch it. Great work, actors. Notice that we were very specific when we were holding our object. This is how you want to hold your imaginary props on stage as an actor. Now let's start the second part of our Tableau exercise. This time, you will create poses for your imaginary story, but you will also have a prop. Be sure to show the details of your story, but don't forget about your prop. For example, I will show you my Tableau poses for my story, but this time my prop will be an umbrella. My story is, I went to the park with my umbrella. I could not find my friend with my umbrella. My friend found me with my umbrella at the park. Now let's give it a try. Here is your story. Be sure to pause the video after each line to give yourself enough time to come up with your pose. Your imaginary prop is a camera. 1. You had a dance party. 2. The music stopped playing. 3. You ate cake instead. Remember, you always want to make sure that you show the prop that you have. But don't forget about showing in other parts of your body the other details of your story. Let's try it again. Feel free to pause the video again and try different poses each time I repeat a line from your story. 1. You had a dance party. 2. The music stopped playing. 3. You ate cake instead. One more time. Let's try it again. You had a dance party. The music stopped playing. You ate cake instead. You had a dance party. The music stopped playing. You ate cake instead. You had a dance party. The music stopped playing. You ate cake instead. You had a dance party. The music stopped playing. You ate cake instead. You had a dance party. The music stopped playing. You ate cake instead. You had a dance party. The music stopped playing. You ate cake instead. Excellent job, actors! Was it harder to create that pose with a prop? As an actor on stage, we have to tell stories with our bodies. And sometimes we have to pay attention to every movement that we make. You were able to pantomime and tell a story by just using one pose. And you were also improvising. You didn't have a script, you didn't have a plan, and you were able to come up with your poses and your ideas right on the spot. And you also said yes to the exercise. Wonderful job improvising and pantomiming, actors. Now it's time for a review. Let's say yes to what we've learned today. Every play or show in a theater has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, we learn about the characters and the place. In the middle, the character goes through a complication. A complication is a problem the character has getting what he or she wants. In the end, the character gets a solution to their problem. This can also happen in improvisation. Even though we don't have a script, we can still tell a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. A tableau is a tool we use in theater to show one moment of a story. We freeze in a position or a pose, and that represents one moment. A prop is an object an actor uses to tell a story on stage. Now for homework. Option number 1. In your journal, you will come up with your own story for this activity. You only need to come up with 3 lines to show the beginning, the middle, and the end. Remember, in the middle, you have to have a complication or a problem. In real life, we don't always get the things we want. What are some of the things that could get in your character's way? What are some of the things that keep you from getting what you want? You can write about those things. After you create your story, you will create a tableau for each of your lines. Remember, you want to have a tableau for the beginning, for the middle, and for the end. Be sure to remember your poses. Option 2. Option 2 is a performance. After you have created your tableaus and your story, you will now perform them in your house in front of anyone as a performance. Or feel free to show this to your teacher. Here are some tips to remember for your performance. 1. Introduce yourself and your show. Remember to face forward so they can see all of your activities. Number 2, explain the definition of pantomime and tableau. Number 3, tell your audience you will present 3 tableaus that represent your story. Number 4, tell your audience you will say scene after each tableau. 5, present your tableaus. Remember, don't use any words and don't tell your story until after the performance. 6, ask your audience to guess your story. 7, share the story with your audience. Did they guess correctly? What was different? 8, thank the audience for their participation. And number 9, be sure to record this for your video journal. Note, remember, it is okay if the audience did not guess correctly. This can give you so much information about what your movements are saying and how they tell a story on stage. Use that feedback to help you practice and keep going. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me in this wonderful world of theater. I'm Miss Bianca, and I'll see you next time.